How does a person answer why something happens?
When you look at the findings in different fields,
scant is the part of life in which we live.
To attain the highest values.
So I've got one more question I ask all guests as well. And this is, I think without fail, everyone has had family and friends play an important role in what they've learned, their career. How's your family and your friends played a role in where you are now?
So on the family level, I was born to parents who didn't tell me a thing. They had no views on what I do and only gave me support. So especially a father who was a journalist and who was very creative and didn't believe in many of the conventional stuff of life. And he used to frustrate me because I would say, "Dad, so what do you think I should do?" He'd say, he used to call me Zan. He'd say, "Yeah, Zander, you'll work it out. You'll work it out." And I'd say, "How does this work?" He said, "I don't know. They've obviously got their methods." And so he would just give me nothing. And it used to frustrate me. And apparently I used to frustrate him because I used to ask so many questions. But my family were just, I don't think I would have pursued a career in tracking because let's be honest, it's not mainstream, is it? That had I had conformist kind of parents that said I had to go and be an engineer or something more mainstream, and I'm so happy I had that at the time. A bit like Ren, I used to get frustrated with my parents. I felt that they'd never guided me and they never gave me anything. But what they did do is they gave the scope for me to be the person I wanted to be and follow the stuff and the dreams that I wanted to follow. And then my friends have just not really known what goes on the trail. Very few of my friends have actually been with Ren and I and followed a line and to its culmination. So they don't really know. They just know the stories and so on. So they've always been at best, they're supportive in a sort of friendly, kind of superficial way. At worst, they're a bit sort of incredulous about what I do and that when am I going to get a real job one day? And I'm 45 years old now, and maybe I'm past a real job.
This is it.
This is probably it. And I'm glad it is because it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey. But there's no doubt that Renius has been it. We've given each other support. And places like Londolozi Game Reserve and the owners, the Vati family, were very supportive of me when I did it. I mean, they gave me time off to go and practice tracking before the big assessments. The family rallied around me and have in fact made tracking a big part of what Londolozi is now. And it always was before I arrived, but they saw in me an interest, and so they encouraged it. So I would say the Vati family were a big factor, and they were like family to me as well, my bush family.
Yeah, no one can do anything alone. It's the similarities with what you've said and previous guests have said. This is fascinating for me. It's often that support, unconditional support from parents. Where one of my previous guests talked about it being like an ignorance, like it seemed like an ignorance to him at the time, but it wasn't. It was actually just them being like fully supportive and whatever he wanted to do. And then the friends role as well, like kind of playing a foil to the intense focus and passion that you have, and like they're not sharing that part of it, but they're providing the support and probably the good times and laughter that you need to go through that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's.
So I want to kind of wrap things up. You've got a book out in South Africa. I think it's scheduled for release sometime in the States. Changing a Leopard Spots. You have the Tracker Academy. You are blogging now on some of these stories. I'm going to share all of these in the show notes as well, because I highly encourage people to go and read your blogs, to get the book when it's available for them wherever they are. You also make simulated video simulations, which you're pretty excited about. You've got a second one coming out now.
Yeah.
Give us a quick little rundown of some of these projects you've got going on, and also how people, if they want to find out more, they can get hold of you.
Yeah, so the simulations, the tracking simulations, is an interactive documentary. We take people on a virtual tracking adventure. Renius and I have filmed ourselves tracking lion, leopard, and rhino over the last couple of years. And we've taken all the best bits, and we've taken all the decisions that we had to make, and we've now turned it into a virtual interactive documentary. So for example, you're tracking a lion, and you've got a monkey making an alarm call to the left, and the tracks of the lion are going to the right. There's a moment there. Do we go and investigate that monkey call, or do we pursue with following the lion's tracks? And we stop the video there. We play a scenario. We explain and we allow the participants to have a discussion in their groups or individually, and then they decide which route they want to take. And we have filmed both eventualities, so it's a decision tree, and so it's a lot of fun, and it gets people totally immersed in this tracking. As I said right at the beginning of the show, is just there's so much mystery around it, and it brings that into ordinary people's homes, and it allows people to connect with the powerful metaphor that is tracking, because we are all tracking. We are all natural born trackers. We're tracking the weather, the stock markets, each other, our health, our wealth, all of this stuff. And so the process of tracking, whether it be a lion or a new customer, is the same as far as we are concerned. And we demonstrate that via our interactive documentary called Tracking Success.
Tracking Success. Awesome. So we'll definitely share that link. Tell us a little bit about the book, and it's doing pretty well in South Africa by the sounds of it. I think you're figuring out the publishing and all that for US release and various other things. Any updates and tell us a little bit about the book, actually. Yeah, so the book is called Changing a Leopard Spots, and it's got basically 3 themes. The one is mine, Renius's lives intertwined. Then there's the tracking theme with all the tracking stories, many of which I told you today are in the book. And then the last is the black-white relationship. And we talk about the difficulties that Renius and I had, and hasn't been a bed of roses. There was a time, there's a whole chapter on this. There was a time where I was deeply suspicious of Renius. I thought he was was part of a rhino poaching syndicate. I was absolutely certain. And we got through that. And I write about that in the book. And it basically came down to my implicit biases that I was born with. And I had to really work through those. He was a black guy living in a village where other poachers had been seen. He was on his phone speaking English, which he didn't, driving a car all these things came together for me to form this picture in my mind that Renius Mklongo, the guy I've been with for 20 years, is actually a poacher. And I've been conned my whole life. And it was a story that I absolutely believed for probably a week. And until I could get through it. And there's a whole chapter on how we got through that and how we built trust. And so, yeah, it's our lives together, really. And it's warts and all, Andrew. It's warts and all. It's not your average Cookie Gilman gin and tonics book about Africa. It tells it like it is. Yeah. I mean, there's a case of me witnessing a suicide. There's some really dangerous encounters we had. There's some hard moments between Renius and I, and there are also some wonderful victories. So, and I end the book with basically asking the question, are we doing enough to get together people from diverse cultures? Are we getting enough, and where are we going? And if 2 ordinary guys like Renius and I can get it together, then there's no reason why the rest of the world can't. Yeah. What a powerful message. I cannot wait to get my hands on a copy of that book, Alex. It's been amazing talking to you. I have so many more questions. We've only allotted this much time. I'm sure you have things that you need to get to now. So we'll definitely need to make another one of these. I want to just reiterate one of the points you made earlier, that it's conversations like this, like you and I having right now, one-on-one with people that you don't necessarily agree with. Not that was our case, but that having those kind of conversations with people that you don't necessarily agree with is
Yeah.
is the starting point, is the building block for a better society.
Yes. The power
Yeah.
of proximity can
Yeah.
unleash all kinds of good.
Fantastic. Well, that's an amazing message. I wish you all the best in continuing to get that out into the world, and I will do everything I can to help on my side. I've really enjoyed having you on. It was such a great conversation. Thank you so much for coming.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you very much, Andrew. I really appreciate you having me and listening to our story. Thank you so much.